that work together in the film industry. Why don't we start on the far end and introduce yourselves, a little bit about your background.
My name is Mark Davis, and I'm here with Jan. We are with Tin Boat Productions, and we have a short film here today, well, in the festival called Helen. And we basically have been doing documentary films for, I don't know,
6 years?
6 years, I guess. We were in the advertising agent life for a lot of years, and then we just decided to sort of vacate that and do something a little more permanent. And so between the two of us, we shoot, edit, do all the sound. All of the films that we've done have really just been the two of us. So we're about to do our fourth feature on a band in LA called Idaho, which is upcoming, and we're going to start editing that soon. But, you know, for us it just worked out pretty well, you know, being married, having that trust, so I'm sure we'll discuss all of that.
Yeah, but luckily we get along well enough to work together.
Most of the time.
We weren't sure, but we were married first, then we started working together, but it's all worked out, so.
Good. All right, and our second couple.
Tim Busfield, Melissa Gilbert. We have Grand River Productions. We made a short film a few years ago that was sort of it was a 44-minute film we shot in 8 hours. And it came from a show I was executive producing and Melissa was acting on for ABC. And I was directing and acting on the show as well, and said it's nonsense how much money we're spending. Let's go ahead and we found a location and got the DP and the camera operator and the sound guy from the show, and banged it up. And it played really well, won a lot of festivals, very well received, and we sort of got us thinking, and then we created a company with Jeff, and we have guest artists in the festival. And
we started actually working together before that too, when we started improvising and just throwing a camera out.
Tabloid Tammy, yeah.
Was born. It was sort of like, you know, two planets colliding when we finally re-met and fell in love and discovered that not only do we get along really well, but we work together really well. At least, I can't think of anyone I'd rather work with as an actor or director or producer or partner. Mostly because it brings out the best in me and brings out sides in me that most people don't see. We get along really well when we're working together. So it actually started with these silly videos that are on YouTube of a character that we created together that I now channel on a regular basis. Her name is Tammy Krippenfister. And the videos they're titled, they're Tabloid Tammy videos. I don't think the first one's available because Tammy is the worst of all humans, but you love her, but she's bigoted, she's actually an anti-feminist, but a feminist. She's just a mess. Bad makeup, bad clothes, bad wig, from Minnesota. Anyway, she's a lot of fun. So that's how our work association really started. And then we did One Smart Fellow, and then we did Tenure, and then
other TV shows and stuff. We've worked together a bunch, and we prefer it that way.
And how long have you been together as a couple?
7
7
years.
years.
7 years. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And our third couple.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I want to say it's great to be back in Narrowsburg. I used to rent a house here years ago when Narrowsburg was a small town, 20 years ago. But Molly and I both were working in film, and we got together and we just started kind of working together. It just kind of happened, and so we've been working together about 13 years, I guess. And we've just worked on many commercial projects for art museums and nonprofits and things like that. And then we just finished, we're presenting our third feature film tonight at the festival. And it just kind of happened. You know, I have a producing background and I shoot. Molly has a very intense editing background, so that helps a lot, I think. There's a division of labor, and it just kind of happened. We didn't expect it at all. And you know, a lot of friends come up to me over the years and say, like, how could you work together? I can't even decide what to have for dinner with my wife. And so I always say, well, that's easy, just have what she wants.
Happy life.
So.
I'll have what she that.
Our company's called Particle Productions.
Particle Productions.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Big Ben's filling station?
Oh,
Did that close a couple years
yeah,
ago?
it closed a couple years ago. I think it went up for sale. Buzz, big
Yeah.
Buzz.
Big Buzz. Big
Yeah,
Buzz.
it passed
But-
away, and then,
Oh,
I think it's son or something that owns it.
Okay.
I'm
yeah.
not
They kind
sure.
of fixed it up. We thought maybe it was gonna sell and become like a laundrette type of something, but not yet.
great place.
Well, we're already off topic, ladies and gentlemen.
Pizza last night.
So I guess one of my first questions as someone in the entertainment industry myself is, and you guys said that you are largely a duo as opposed to really opening it up to a lot of other people. How do you feel you as a team affect the rest of the production or the people with whom you're working? Does that come into play for the other people on a production crew?
I'll take that one.
Yeah, sure.
I think definitely, and I also think it's really great to collaborate with other people so that we're not too insular. I mean, so whenever we have the opportunity, it really depends on how big the project is that we're doing, but often when we can bring on more crew, animators, things like that, it's really fun. But I was just thinking of Eddy who's here, who's often our cinematographer. And I was thinking of that, Philip was remembering one of the first early jobs we did together.
Right.
We were filming in a jazz club in the village and Eddy was shooting and it started raining and we were outside trying to get car shots and stuff. And we started singing in the rain.
Raindrops.
Raindrop.
Falling, yeah.
And Eddy said, "What are you guys, like the happy filmmakers?" So it was just, I think that we have a lot of fun together and that
Well, that
helps.
And that's true. I mean, if it's midnight and you're standing in the street and it's raining, we're together. So it's a lot of fun. It's not like you
Want to
are
go home.
want to go home.
Miss-
But also I think filmmaking is collaborative. You always need a couple. Someone used to say it takes 3 people to make a film who really want to make the film, I think. So if you definitely need collaborators. So it makes it easier that we're together.
And I thought, Molly, you made a good point. I think most couples do need outside influences to get new ideas into the relationship or realize, oh, you're not annoying me, life is. You know, some aspect of that where your spouse, you see the things the way other couples deal with them, the way other people do. Anyone else want to talk about how it affects the total production to work with a couple?
Sure. Well, I think the benefit for us, like doing documentary films, is that because we're such a small footprint, it's just the 2 of us. Like we'll come into your house and we'll start communicating with you and have a conversation, and I think that helps to put people at ease. And so we're really able to dig down into a lot of personal stories very quickly because there's no one else in the room. You know, Jan's typically handling sound and helping me with lights, and I'm working the camera, and very quickly we can get into a very comfortable situation where people are starting to pour their lives out to us, which is what you want. You want that trust and that intimacy, especially when you're coming into someone's home, which is typically a lot of where we film. So we find that works out really, really well. And we don't have there is no third leg to our stool, so we're constantly
Yeah, I mean,
in
and
flux.
for us, we just invested in all the equipment, but we didn't have money to hire a DP, hire an editor, hire all these things. So then we're like, okay, well, let's just figure it out. And so we're just self-taught, and then we just kept doing stuff and making it. You know, it's like back to where people say, like, well, what's the best camera to shoot with? It's like the one you have. Just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
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 So we've, spent most of our time just investing slowly in equipment, and then it's just our investment of our time, and we enjoy doing it. So it's like mini vacations where we say, okay, we're going to go to Los Angeles for a month and a half and just shoot this next doc. And
Yeah, it's nice to be able to fund a lot of things because we have such a small footprint. We can just go off and do a film. Like we could leave our house tomorrow and start shooting, a documentary on any particular subject, within reason. And we wanted to be able to do that when we left advertising, because in advertising everyone's telling you no, and no one's ever telling you yes. There's like 20 people can say no and one person can say yes. And we wanted to get in a situation where we could control our own destinies. So that's what we do. So the only person that can really tell me no is her, you know, so I like that. You know, the freedom that allows us is, I think, really special.
I think when you've worked in a field like advertising, I work for Disney quite often.
Yeah.
And when I'm free of the history of something or the brand of something and can have total choice, you know, total control over my choices, it's refreshing.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
We tend to, we work in a very similar way, separately, I think. I grew up being mentored by one of the all-time greatest television producer, director, writer, stars ever. And one of the many things that I learned from him was that if the environment on the set is not a happy one, there's no point. Because the hours were really long and what we were doing was really hard. You know, we were outside shooting winter in the summer and summer in the winter, in the dust with the horses and all the stuff. And fake snow and blizzards. And a lot of crying. And
Town's blowing up.
and town's blowing up. And yes, babies dying. It was bad in the 1800s. But that environment, and that also one of the other things I learned was to respect everybody else's job, and that nobody was more important than anybody else on the set. Everybody had something to contribute, and I was actually forced to learn and shadow each department, so I learned each job. And Tim, watching him work, it's very similar to the way I grew up. The set is light, everybody wants to come to work. People, when I first visited him on the set when he was directing, when we were first dating, all the crew and cast came up to me and said, your boyfriend is our favorite director. And every set I go on, it's the same thing. He's our favorite director, he's our favorite director. And a lot of it has to do with the tone that set. So when we started our company, one of the things that we really wanted to do, and Jeff as well, in our company we did with this production, was to create an environment that was like that on our set, to make it a place people wanted to come and work, but also one of the things we consciously did was we took people whose work we respected in certain areas and moved them up a step in their particular field. So our DP, who's Tim's son, Willie Busfield, who's a brilliant fashion director of photography, this is his first feature film. Jeff's son, Ben, did our score. My son, Michael, stood in for Jeff. And then we had a first AD who was promoted to UPM. So everybody got to move up a step in their particular field. And we nurtured that learning curve a lot. And it paid off, I think, in a really big way. And it gave people just a little step forward in their own careers. And that was really gratifying, I think.
And because we were doing that as